Hello and good morning. My name is Coach Will Walker, and it is a amazing Sunday morning here in Puerto Vallarta at my home. I am online today with the amazing, incomparable woman herself, Miss Alana Sanders. This series is what I'm going to call Conversations with Important People. And they are people that represent the community. They are the decision makers in the community. They are the people that keep Georgia moving forward in the right direction. Today, I'm having a great conversation with my friend and amazing associate, County Commissioner Alana Sanders.
Hello, how
Good
are
morning,
you
Alana.
in Mexico? I'm so jealous.
Oh, girl, don't be jealous, honey. It is a flight away, and I know that you are there doing the Lord's work. So, therefore, it is hard for you to escape, I am sure. But just in case anyone does not know who Elena is the county commissioner of Newton County. She's a public servant, an amazing educator, a presenter, a public speaker, an international fitness professional. She is a singer, and of course, she would agree that her most accomplished position is being a mother to a amazing daughter who is a scholar. I know this girl personally. Shout out to McKinley. And thank you so much for taking time out to speak with me today, Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here and honored. I'm happy and I'm glad to see you. Although I haven't seen you in years, I get to see you on the screen, but I'm so happy to be here. I thank you so much.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm not going to hold you long today, but I did want to just have a brief conversation with you and do a quick catch up about Newton County, what's going on in the state, what's going on in the city, what's going on in your county, and just kind of give us a little bit of insight of what we can expect maybe coming or what is going on. Now, tell me, can we start with just what jurisdiction do you represent right now?
Yes, I represent Newton County, Georgia. Newton County is part of the Atlanta metro area, off the 20 going east. So if you're in Atlanta, you're going east of 20, keep going straight down 20, you will run into Newton County. One of the main cities in Newton County, which is also the county seat, is Covington, Georgia. If you've seen a lot of movies on TV, your P Valley and everything else, and all those movies, those were shot in Newton County. Many movies we've had, Vampire Diaries, all of those were shot in Newton County. Newton County is the Hollywood of the South. Many of your film industry is in Newton County. We have a lot of studios. Even Tyler Perry's about to build, or he's currently building another studio out in Newton County. So we are the place that they go to make the movies. So we have a lot of people that are moving to that area because of the film industry.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing, Elena. I know that Georgia has been a hub for some time because it's kind of my stomping ground too, or it has been for some time. And it has just been the hub of entertainment. And it is the Black Mecca for success. It is what, all of the United States looks up to. And I am so amazed and so glad that you are sitting in the seat that you're sitting, representing that jurisdiction, because from what I've seen and what I've heard and everything is just like you are there to make a difference for real. And for anyone that doesn't understand the word public servant, like it is the epitome of it because of your background, because of where you come from. I just believe that that seat was really made for you.
I thank you so much for that, and I'm happy that I was allowed to be able to sit in this seat. We made history in Newton County the year that I ran, and we had more people that came out to vote. It was just an exciting time, and like I told some people, if you'd have asked me about 7, 8 years ago, was I going to be in politics? And you probably know this, I would have said no. That was not my plight in life. That was not my plan. But we all know when we make plans, they don't go the way that we want them. They go the way that he designs them. And so I am excited to sit in this seat to make a difference, to make a change. And although some may not be excited, some may be excited, but it's not the point of the person that you decided to be in the seat. Is the person doing the job. That's the main
Mhm.
thing. Are they doing the job for the people? Are they making a difference in the community as far as for our seniors, our youth, and those who accomplish the property owners who's paying the taxes? Are they doing what they said they're going to do when they gave you that huge campaign speech in the beginning that spiel for you to vote for them. Are they actually doing the job? And I do believe I'm doing that, and I receive that a lot from my constituents, that I am doing the job, and that's my main goal. When I get into something, I put my all into it. Sometimes I put too much into it to where it encompasses every part of my life, but I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And I really, really believe you are. Now, staying in the vein of that, you have been doing this job amazingly for 2 years and you've been in this seat for a while. Tell us what's new for coming for Newton County.
Well, right now in Newton County, we have a lot of industry that's definitely coming into the county for right now. We currently have Facebook, we have Takeda, we have a lot of things that are happening. Of course, Newton County is booming with our housing development, especially my district. My district is probably the district that has the most development and the most dense. We have a lot of that. People are coming because houses are, it's not affordable because of inflation. It's affordable versus living in Atlanta, and you used to live in Atlanta. So you know the cost of living in Atlanta itself versus living in Atlanta metro. So you have a lot of people who've had the opportunity to purchase homes because they were affordable to them at the moment. It's also great for those who are actually selling their homes at this particular time. The market is booming for that. In my district alone, one of the main things we're doing, when I first came into office and before I came into office, when I was campaigning, one of the things that my neighbors, and you will hear me say neighbors because I don't like the word constituent, because I live in the community. The difference between being a county commissioner versus a state rep or somebody who's congressional is that we actually live in a neighborhood. We go to the same grocery store, we go to the same Family Dollar, Dollar
Mhm.
General. I will see my constituent in that store. If I'm walking out of my house, I would see the person who possibly voted for me. My constituent would be out there. My neighbor would be there. So that's why I say my neighbor, because I live in the community, and whatever happens in this community, I feel it too. I'm not making decisions from a seat to where I live in another county and I represent this county and I don't know what the people feel like or how it feels to be embarked on or something coming to community and you don't want that. I actually feel it because I live here. And so that is one of the things I would say is so amazing. So just to break that down. So as a local official, I actually work as a commissioner who manages your property taxes. A lot of people are not familiar what a commissioner does. When I was campaigning, I go back to when I was campaigning because I felt like I was educating, because I am a teacher. I was educating a lot of people on what a county commissioner does. And when I asked them that question, they had no idea. They was like,
Mhm.
and even if I ask people to this day, some that I'm actually talking to, they're like, what do you do? We know of the title, but what do you actually do? When you pay your property taxes in your county, that goes into a budget to where your county commissioners actually manages that budget and decide on where it's going to be spent in the community. That is a big piece because everybody know property taxes can be a lot, especially right now with inflation. Your house has gone, the value of your home has gone up, and you've seen your mortgages change because of inflation, and the property values of your home have changed. And so you come to your county commissioner trying to figure out, why has my property tax increased? When you want new industry or economic development in your community, that's your county commissioner. That new store that just came on the block, that new gas station or so forth, or something that came in that area, your county commissioner sat down also with their appointments on the planning and zoning commission and said, hey, we want these various things in our community. So it's important that you stay in tune with your elected officials that are locally, because they are planning your livelihood, even from the Board of Education, which is from the school system, but as a county commissioner, we're countywide. So we have cities up under us that we are actually making decisions in regards to what happens in the county.
And that is so much important information for people to understand, that it's just not about the president.
It
It's
is
not
not.
about the senators. It's not about the governors. It's about every elected office that's below it, because those small offices make the decisions about your day-to-day movement. And that
Exactly.
is so important. And it's very important as we vote, as the election is just around the corner, because it's always just around the
It's
corner,
always
contrary to
around
what
the
anyone
corner.
thinks. It is always just around the corner. We have to vote for people with integrity that are going to hold up the mantle and just be honest, and do what's right for the community.
That's
Now,
the key word you just said. The key word you just said. Just be honest.
I have to interject that because that is not a running theme in politics. It's not a running theme because people are looking out for the vested interests of the people who invested in them more so than the people who
Mm.
are depending on them
Oh
and
wow, you
looking
said a
to them
word.
for the leadership. So we have to be mindful of those things. Speaking of that, I was taking a peruse of your page
Okay.
on yesterday when we were deciding to finalize the interview. And you were having some concerns about a project that was coming to your district. And I saw a few people kind of randomly chiming in. If you don't mind, would you tell us about that a little bit more?
Yes, here in well, in various counties in Georgia, we have something called a splosh. It's your sales tax. Basically, it's the special purpose sales tax to where the community decides on if they want to increase their sales tax for projects in their community. It could be parks and rec. It could be to fix roads and various things. It could be for public safety, fire, your law enforcement to get more cars or whatever they need. And so the residents will vote on this, which they will vote for the 2023 splosh on November 8th. That's coming up. And so in 2017, the residents voted in my community, well, in Newton County alone, for a West Side youth facility. Now, the west side of Newton it does include four districts, but that was just a name, I mean, three districts, excuse me, but that was a name that commissioner or whomever put that in place for that project. Now, let me go a little bit further. The commissioners during that time all decided to give each other for not give each other decided to vote on that each district would have $495,000 to spend in their district on a project of their choosing, and that project was placed on the referendum for the community to vote for. So the project that was placed on the referendum for District 3 was a West Side Youth Facility. And breaking that down, my district has the most population. Of course, now that we've done the census and we did redistricting, it had to become even out. But District 3 was the only district that grew in the thousands because of the house density and people coming into the area. And my district is close to the interstate to get to Atlanta.
Mhm.
So a youth facility was perfect. It's definitely what was needed. And that commissioner that came in before me, that was definitely a good project that was needed. So the residents assumed they were voting for a youth facility that's going in their district. Unfortunately, there's been some issues to where that I'm assuming, well, not assuming, the previous commissioner actually was on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. And so her thought process was, since the Boys and Girls Club is in District 2, it's in District 2, not even District 3, we give that funding to them to build a facility and they manage it. Unfortunately, that's not what the citizens voted for. That's not what the residents voted for. And in regards to the law, you have to do what they voted for. You cannot go in and change it. Now, can a nonprofit manage a building? Yes, they do it every day, all day in the government, but that's not what the residents voted for. They were looking for a facility to come into their district so they can actually manage it and know what's happening in their community. And so that's what I've been pushing for based on the law. And I've been conversing with our previous county manager and our project manager to move forward with a West Side youth facility that's pegged for District 3. The previous commissioner was trying to partner with the school board to swap out some land, but unfortunately it did not work, and that land was in District 3. So we were moving forward. We found some land to move forward. The commissioners told our attorney to go ahead and put in an offer for this land. Of course, you know what offers, you have counter offers and all that and so forth. So I'm going to put this out there. I did an open records because there was a my colleague who said I want to do a site analysis so we can decide on where this is going to be. So I did an open records. There's never in the history of Newton County has there ever been a site analysis for a project that's going in a commissioner's district. So if the project is going in that commissioner's district, that commissioner works with that project manager to decide, or the people who live there to say, hey, we want it there. No other commissioner embarks on that commissioner's project or what's happening. So our county clerk said that has never happened in the history of Newton County. We currently have a project that's in place right now that's about to build a park and community center in another district. We never had a site analysis. It only happened for my district. So that was why I questioned. I said, why are we only doing a site analysis for this district when in years you never embark on a commissioner's project? Why is there a difference? I voted for projects to go in your community. You did what you had to do. I voted for projects to go to your community. You did what you had to do. So why is District 3 so special? Why are we doing various things differently? So our project manager before gave me 4 properties to look at. And so, and our county manager, our interim county manager, was a part of that. So I'm assuming the commissioner or a commissioner was concerned about why they were not aware. So I forwarded over to them. So on Tuesday night, they decided to have a workshop site analysis for the project going in my district. Now, mind you, I'm thinking that we're moving forward with the sites that were submitted to me for my district. When we get to the meeting, there are more sites that are in other districts to move a project that's supposed to be in my district to propose to go in other districts. Now, why this is so dear to me is because I took the opportunity. Splash dollars was $495,000. With that, there's excess money that came in. I was also granted 3.77 million, which gave you about $4.1 million. Okay. So I knew that was not going to be enough to purchase land. As we know, the land right now, Will, you know, you've been in the real estate industry, you know that was not enough
Yes.
to build and to buy land.
No.
So that was my concern. I did not want to tax the taxpayers. So our congressman, which all the commissioners received this email, had a grant, congressional dollars, and said if you have projects coming in your community, apply for the grant. So that's what Commissioner Sanders did for her community. I applied for a grant for $4 million, and which
Hmm.
I received. So that gives me $8.1 million to build for this project. Okay. And so now we have enough money to purchase land, and now we have enough money to do phase 1 of the building to put in a building for our youth. I visited all the high schools in the area. In the area, I visited the middle schools, and I actually did a focus group with the students to tell me what they wanted to see in a building that they were going to occupy. Not me. What y'all want? Because the worst thing, Will, sometimes is we as adults, we plan for our youth, and that's not what they want. We know that when we grew up, Generation X's, there were certain things that were important to us. And we know this new generation, this social media day and age generation, they don't care about nothing that we want. It's completely different. So it's better to go to them and hear exactly what they wanted. And I also had a town hall with those in my district and the parents with the youth to tell me what they wanted. So I'm thinking we're moving forward. The neighbors in my area are excited. The students are excited. We're moving forward. And I'm still questioning, why are we having a site analysis for a project going in my district when we never did it from any other district? We've had a skate park that was pegged for an area. We didn't do a site analysis that we would need this skate park in somewhere else. We've had a park and a community center is being built right now. We didn't do a site analysis say, hey, we need this to be somewhere else. That's that commissioner's district. That's what that commissioner wanted, and they moved forward. And so that was where the whole issue was, because on Tuesday night, it was like an okey doke. It was an okey doke. So where they was like, oh, this is the west side of Newton, so we could put it anywhere. I said, so after I applied for a $4 million grant, now you're trying to move the project somewhere else after I did the work for my community? So you want me to lose the grant because the grant was based on the
Your
district
community and those
and
stats.
and the statistics. So if
Yeah.
you move it, we lose $4 million. And why are you moving it when I had evidence to show it's supposed to be in my district? And that was the money that was given to that commissioner who was in office before I came in office. And she didn't utilize the funding. And so another commissioner told me about the funding and said you need to go utilize that for your community and move forward with your projects based on what the splash law is. And that's what I was doing. My neighbors wanted a facility for the youth because my area has a lot of crime dealing with, we don't have nothing to do for our youth. So we're trying
Mhm.
to find something to deter the crime for my area.
So all of that being said, because that is such a, I won't comment on what it is because I know exactly what it is, just
I
like you
want you
know
to say
exactly what
it.
it is.
We're keeping it real. I want you to say whatever comes to
Uh,
your mind.
well,
And
the
you've
thing
been in
is,
politics. on the back
Yeah.
end working with many political figures, from governors to whatever. So you know this role. You know it.
Well, I'll say this, and this is my determination. This is not your determination. This is my determination. My determination is this: it's just blatant racism, and it's blatant sexism on top of the racism, and it's a hierarchy grab, is what I call it. Um, how dare a Black woman come into this community, take over a seat that didn't belong to her, and create something bigger and better than what we created and outdo us.
Oh
So
wow.
we're going to show her who's the boss. This is the nature of politics now. That's why it is
Mm.
very important for people like you to set the tone for what is expected after an attack. And I am constantly saying this to not only clients, but only, because I'm a certified performance coach and I do coaching for high level individuals. The attack has to be met. And there are certain people that are equipped for that attack. And you are equipped for that attack. You will set the standard for how these things are dealt with going forward.
Wow.
So you are dealing with it, in my opinion, in the best way possible, not overreacting or being overly confrontational with them, but stating the facts, moving legally, efficiently, and forward. And I think that, especially women of color, when you get into a seat of power, they're expecting to use the art of provocation to say, look, she couldn't handle it. Look at her. But it's more intimidating to see a woman compose herself and say, well, let's just call the attorney. Let's just call the land. Let's just pull up the law. Let's just open the book and see what happened. Let's pull up the track
You've been
record.
watching our
Let me
meetings,
just.
Will.
No, well, here's the thing. I know that I know the culture of this level of business,
Yeah.
and I have had to survive in that culture as a Black man. And I understand that it's even more so strenuous and stressful for a woman to take on a seat from someone who was not as ambitious before you. So let's just be honest about that, because I have read up on the previous commissioner and I was not impressed. Um, Someone who was not as ambitious before you. And then you have a woman of color who actually lives in the community, is concerned about the community, and is engaging the community in a way that is not a dictatorship. Asking something that you said was so important, asking the kids what they want. For us, we went outside and played. We rode bicycles in our age group. We had a good time, and we might have had one community center with basketball and football and volleyball and whatever. These kids need a different level of engagement. And it was so important for you to go out and say, what do you need? I'm here for you. I work for you. What do you want? And no other council. I believe that people in political positions now, from what I see, are making decisions on what they feel instead of making the decisions on what was voted for by the people that voted them in. They feel like it's their duty to do what they feel is right. It's not your duty to do what you feel is right. You have to do what the county says, no matter how you feel. Your feelings are unimportant. That's why they call it a public servant. But that's a
Hmm.
whole nother situation,
Okay,
and
Coach
that's
Will. I
fine.
feel like I'm in therapy for. I feel like this is a therapy session versus an interview. Okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting you said that, and let me put the disclaimer in here. This interview, because I know people when they see certain things, and you don't know my political background, you don't know you read up on the previous commissioner. So this interview is not about bashing the previous commissioner. You know, people would take your words and misconstrue it and say she got on an interview talking about the previous commissioner. No, this is your thoughts and your feelings on what you saw, based on what you read. So I want to make sure I put that out there. But it's interesting that you said your feelings, and I said this on many occasions. I said it's irrelevant on how you feel about me. It's irrelevant on how you think about me. But are we doing our job as commissioners? Are we doing what's for the people? Yes, I'm not gonna back down. I'm not a pushover. But the main thing is, are we doing what's right for the community? What you think of me doesn't even matter. but is that person doing their job? And I said this, I said, there's been many times you worked on jobs where you could not stand your boss. You could not stand a colleague, a person you're working with. You just despise them, but you guys had to come together and for that common goal to make sure the job is done. And that's the whole point. Are we coming together for a common goal to make sure the job is done for the people? That is the only ending goal and the only result that should happen at this point.
Exactly. And for the most part, political positions are like being an interior decorator. You're going into someone else's house, taking their ideas, and you're going out purchasing things that fit their personality.
Mm.
You're the interior decorator for Newton County.
Oh, wow.
And they
That's a
don't
good
get that.
analogy.
They don't
Wow.
get that. It's like, I'm not here to tell you what I feel. My daughter is in college. I don't know what kids that are 10 years younger than her need. Has that changed? And if it has changed, tell me what it is. Because it is not your job to determine what they need. It's your job to provide it. And this is
Mm.
what politicians are getting it all wrong at. And then I will enter this caveat, and I definitely want to move to another question that was kind of luring over my head as we were talking. Um, Let me put this random thought out here. Anyone that was, I don't know whether I want to say it that way. Anyone that was alive during the Jim Crow era should not be in office. So let's just skip that right there. If segregation was legalized in your time in office, you shouldn't be there.
Mm.
Politics is a young person's game because politics has to stay current.
I get what you're saying. So you're saying we're moving in a different direction versus what it was in the past.
Exactly.
And
You
and
can't
and
take someone's old ideas and
mm,
reform them while you reform the people they're supposed to represent,
that is
because their
very
ideas don't change while they reform.
that is very interesting because as we look at this political arena now, it has become younger. Even when we had consultants that came to our county to tell us about our makeup, and one of the things they said was Newton County is getting younger. Newton
Mm-hmm.
County is getting younger. And we have to cater to that younger generation. Are we going to lose them to other cities or other states? And we definitely don't want that to happen. So I get that point to where you're saying, because if you look at, like I said, look at this political world, look at our current activists now. They're younger. Look at the people who are really getting into politics now. And then if you look at the campaigns such as Stacey Abrams and the people she has running with her, those are the Generation Xers and Ys, and they are a force to be reckoned with. And I'm seeing more of them come to the forefront and speaking out about political issues and also running for offices. There was a commissioner that was in Athens, Clark County, who just recently stepped down. And I was reading her article, African American woman, and she said that she stepped down because she could not the old, like you said, the old ways and people not changing. And she said she had a voice that was bigger than the seat that she was sitting in. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
paraphrasing some of the words that she said. Of course, it's not verbatim, but just reading her article is that you're getting these younger individuals coming into politics, and they cannot take the old ways because people are not changing because they're set in their ways, and there has to be some room for change. And I agree with you to that point, to where if you don't have a mind to change for the better and what's coming, then there is going to be a problem. There's always going to be discrepancies. There's always going to be issues because your mind is set in one place.
Absolutely. And when you have people with strong opinions, you have people that, because being in the political side and being on the back end of the machine, what I've seen the most is you have two kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
You have the ones that come in and are grassroots engaged, like yourself. How can I solve the problem? How can I fix it?
Right.
If it's a problem, tell me where it's at. Show it to me. Let's put a plan together and make it activate. And then you have the strong voices that come in and attack off the top. You have people like AOC. You
Mm-hmm.
have these thought leaders that are coming, people like AOC, who came from being a waitress. She's like, I know what it's like to be broke and stand on my feet all day. So I'm not going to let you treat a woman that way, because I was waiting that table, just like
I was
she's
that
waiting
woman.
that
Yes.
table. I've been that woman.
Yes.
And we have to invest in the youth in politics because they are current on what's needed.